When my AP biology teacher taught me more than just bio, she taught me that failing is one of the most important things we as humans can do.
It all started in kindergarten when I sat next to an autistic friend who needed help with reading. That's when I realized I wanted to become a teacher.
The moment that I knew I wanted to be a teacher was in about second grade when I would come home from school and pretend I was the teacher and my stuffed animals were the students.
I helped a friend in high school do a math problem differently, and it worked for them, and they told me, you should be a teacher.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher back in first grade because my teacher cared for me in a way no other teacher had before, and I want to be able to make students feel that same way.
The moment I knew I wanted to teach was when I walked into my mom's preschool classroom.
The moment I knew I wanted to teach was when I was younger and my sister and I would play school.
Hi, my name's Bree, and I knew I wanted to be a teacher when one of my clients told me how much he appreciates all of the work I do for him.
Hi, my name is Tina, and I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I taught summer camp for the first time.
My mom has taught third grade for 33 years. I always knew I wanted to be just like her.
The reason why I want to be an elementary teacher is because I love working with children and I want to make a difference.
The moment that I knew I wanted to be a teacher was the moment that my son was born.
The moment I knew I wanted to be a teacher was during my freshman year of college when I began volunteering at Ogden Friendship House after school.
The moment I knew I wanted to be a teacher was when I was little at my mom's daycare and I spent my time teaching the other children.
The moment I started taking home extra worksheets out of the recycling bin to play school at home with my friends.
The moment I knew I wanted to be a teacher was after working at a daycare all summer.
The moment when an autistic child told me he missed me over the long weekend for the very first time.
I wanted to be a teacher each and every moment I was in my mom's classroom growing up.
The peace I felt when I officially decided to switch to education after 2.5 years in a previous major.
The moment I first knew I wanted to be a teacher was when I got to grow up, watch my mom make a difference in her students' lives.
I knew that I was destined to be a teacher when I asked for an overhead projector for my 6th birthday.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I felt the joy of helping a student make new connections and learning new things.
The moment I realized I wanted to be a teacher was when I saw a child's eyes light up when I read a book to them.
The moment that I knew I wanted to be a teacher was when 2 6-year-old girls asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I said I wanted to be a teacher. They told me that they wished that I could be their teacher so I could love them and give them a hug every single day.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I had the opportunity to co-teach a Sunday school class for children who had special needs.
I volunteered in my niece's classroom my freshman year of college, and I just loved it, so I decided to become a teacher.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher about 4 years ago whenever a girl I had tutored had told me a difficult situation she was going through and the difference that I had made.
I knew I wanted to become a teacher was actually when I noticed a teacher not including all of her students and kids were getting bullied without her knowledge.
The moment I knew I wanted to become a teacher was my senior year as a teacher's aide when I first walked into a first grade classroom.
The moment I knew I wanted to become a teacher was when I realized I could help change the way students...
The moment I realized I wanted to be a teacher was in first grade, when I realized that a great teacher can make all the difference.
I knew I wanted to teach when a student with behavioral issues at Boys and Girls Club wrote me a letter telling me I was his friend.
When I was in high school, I had a teacher who always found time to sit down and talk to me whenever I needed to. And after that experience, I knew I wanted to be a teacher so I can be that person to someone else.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I realized I could be a great role model and influence to students of racial minorities.
I have known that I wanted to be a teacher since I was a young girl and used to boss my little sister around and make her play school with me.
The moment I realized that I could make a difference in a child's life. So I did.
The moment that I knew that I wanted to teach was when I was 6. I found out my dad was illiterate, and the only thing I could think about was teaching him to read.
I knew for sure that I wanted to be a teacher when I was working in a preschool and saw how much I could affect a child's life.
The moment I knew I wanted to be a teacher was when I walked into my mom's preschool classroom.
The moment I knew I wanted to be a teacher, I knew I wanted to be that person to make a positive influence in students' lives. I want to be that person that makes students see all the possibilities their lives hold.
The moment I knew I wanted to be a teacher was when I started working in preschools.
I decided I wanted to become a teacher after my teacher, Mr. Starbuck, made me feel like I could accomplish anything.
The moment when my little sister became my greatest inspiration.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when my aunt was student teaching for K-State. She would bring me home papers to grade, and it was probably the most exciting thing ever.
When I knew I could make an impact and change the lives of students.
The moment I realized I want to drop my comfort zone and teach overseas for several years.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I played school every day as a kid.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when my high school biology teacher told me the world could use a teacher like me.
I knew that I wanted to be a teacher after working with kids a lot more and realizing how much of an impact that teachers make, and talking to my favorite teacher that really made a difference in my life.
The moment I knew I wanted to become a teacher was when I was a child and we always played school and I always wanted to be the teacher.
The moment when I enjoyed being a Girl Scout day camp counselor and helping younger Girl Scouts learn how to make crafts and teach them how to fish.
It was the summer before my sophomore year of college, and the kids I was babysitting needed help with their homework, and I started helping them, and as I understood, I knew that this was meant for me, and I wanted to help kids just like them every day.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I started teaching to my stuffed animals.
The moment your kids' faces light up when they find out about the activity they get to do after you spent all night planning it.
The moment I knew I wanted to be a teacher was when I was the permanent teacher while playing school with my brother and sister.
When I saw the impact my mom had on her students.
The moment I realized I wanted to be a teacher was the first year after I was a lifeguard and I had taught swim lessons.
When I was working in a pre-kindergarten classroom and realized that I needed the kids as much as they need me.
The moment I realized that I wanted to be a teacher was this summer when I went home and coached a swim team, and I realized how excited I was to be working with kids every day instead of grown-ups.
I want to be an elementary school teacher because I want to make a change in the world, and I think that starting with younger kids is the way to do that.
I knew I wanted to teach when I realized the amazing impact I can have on so many students.
The moment I knew I wanted to become a teacher was after spending countless hours in my mom's classroom and seeing what a huge impact she could make on all of her students.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher my senior year of high school, and I taught a girl that was in my grade that had some special needs math.